Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Raylene Marks, your host, bringing you the top stories from Israel every Monday to Thursday, right here on this platform, and also on our YouTube channel at the Israel Brief. All you have to do is click on the big red subscribe button, and you too will be notified every time we update you with news from Israel. And it would really help us if you subscribed, because that way we get to share the news from Israel you won't see in the mainstream media out to a greater audience. So without further ado, let's take a look at those top stories. And back in the top headlines is the COVID-19 pandemic and the effect that it is having in Israel. Last night, the new commissioner for the health ministry on COVID-19, Professor Ronnie Gamzu, presented his plan to the nation, a plan that has been very, very well received by doctors around the country. He spoke about that perhaps we have lost control over the chain of infection, and also appealed to Israelis to please obey the laws of masks, of social distancing, and if you have to go into quarantine, to go into quarantine. He also gave more of a role to the IDF, saying that they have a great way of keeping track of who's infected. Their tracing ability is impeccable, as well as their technology. And he was preceded by Defense Minister Benny Gantz, who has said that the Israeli Defense Forces are always ready for a wartime scenario, and COVID-19 is no different. So hopefully we will see a big change in the statistics now that the IDF will be taking more of a role. So let's look at those statistics, where we currently stand. From the start of the global pandemic, Israel has seen 66,805 people contract the virus, with 490 fatalities. At this time, there are 33,618 people who are infected, with 322 in serious condition, and 32,697 people have made full recoveries. In more positive news, the other day we spoke about a proposal put forward by the Transport Ministry about the opening of civil aviation, and today it was announced that Israel will start allowing, without the need for quarantine, visitors from green countries. Those are countries with very, very low infection rates, and they include countries like Austria, Switzerland, Canada, Ireland, Hungary, Lithuania, Croatia, New Zealand, and various others. So good news for Israelis, and good news for the Israeli travel industry, because hopefully we will start seeing visitors again, and we will slowly get that economy rolling. In other more serious news, there has been a number of protests across the country over the last couple of weeks. Protests both against the economic situation and against the Netanyahu government. Last night in Tel Aviv, a number of anti-Netanyahu protesters were severely injured by far right-wing groups. According to Defense Minister Benny Gantz, who commented just a short while ago, he said that these are organized criminal groups. Netanyahu commented on this morning, saying there is no place for violence in our democracy. And the leader of the opposition, Yair Lapid, the chairman of the Yesh Atid party, said that protests will continue until Netanyahu steps down. A lot of controversy this week when the Minister of Public Security, Amir Ohana, called on the police to quell, those are his words, the protests, and this was met with a lot of opposition, including from our President, Reuven Rivlin. He said that Israel is a democracy, and it is the democratic right of the people to protest. And yesterday it was up for discussion in the Knesset whether the use of water cannons will persist, but we haven't had a result of that discussion yet. We hope that people will resume peaceful protests. And our last news item of the day, many of you are asking now that the 48-hour Twitter walkout has concluded, did it achieve its aims? and it has been very, very successful. Not only has Wiley, the UK rapper whose anti-Semitic tirade actually spurred on this campaign, not only has he been banned from Instagram, from Facebook, he will be banned permanently from Twitter as well. But what it has done is it has highlighted the plight of Jews against online anti-Semitism. It has galvanized our allies from the Muslim communities, from the black communities, non-Jewish communities all around the world, including Christians United for Israel in the United States, and also lawmakers, to see just how serious this is, and that even though we protested silently, sometimes a silent protest speaks the loudest. So it is a victory in the fight against online anti-Semitism, but we really, really hope that social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Parler, Facebook, and various others, take this very, very seriously. We have seen a huge uptick in the amount of violent crimes against Jews around the world, sometimes even resulting in murder, and this can be attributed to a lot of the anti-Semitic rhetoric that happens online. So we've said it loud and we've said it clear, even though we were silent. There is no safe space for Jew hate, and that every time it rears its ugly head, we are not going to take it sitting down. So thank you. Thank you to the tremendous amount of you out there who participated in this campaign, and thank you so much to the allies of the Jewish community all around the world that proved once again, when we stand together, great things are accomplished. So those are the top stories making headlines in Israel today. Don't forget that you can check us out online at our website, www.layoftheland.online. You can read Dave Kaplan's article about modern day slavery, and it's also up on our Facebook page. So while you're there, give us a like, give us a follow, please share our content. It's there for the sharing. Now that we're back on Twitter, you can find us at Lay of the Land 5. That's Lay of the Land with the number 5. And of course, we have that YouTube channel at the Israel Brief. So with the Wednesday edition of the Israel Brief, I'm Rolene Marks, wishing you all good health and safety, and we'll speak again tomorrow.